Today it's time for a best of 3 series of professionals. Wait, I can't make that intro anymore, can I? Alright, let me start over again. Hello everyone, my name is... I know some of you are gonna get really upset when I don't do the over-the-top scream at the very beginning of the video, but today it's time for a best of 3 series. It's time for a Terran versus Protoss between 2 channel favorites. Spawning here in game number 1 on Ice and Chrome, playing with the blue Terran SCVs from Germany. We have the highest ranked player from that country, and currently on Aligalek, he's considered to be the number 11 in the world. We're looking inside of the main base of HeRoMaRinE. His opponent in the opposite corner, playing with the red Protoss probes, of course from the United States of America, the highest ranked player from the USA. We have none other than Neeblet. Alrighty, so here we go. Now, massive shout out to Wardy for sending me these replays. If you follow me on Twitter, you may be aware of the fact that I've been ranting a little bit, because basically, long story short, you may be aware of the fact that the new balance patch went live, right, a couple of weeks ago. And then a couple days ago, basically, at this point, Blizzard released like a small little mini patch, and then all of the games that were played on the new multiplayer balance patch all of a sudden are unwatchable. So there's a bunch of tournaments that took place, like for example the TSL and Stay at Home Story Cup, and a whole bunch of tournaments of games that I could go ahead and cast, and sadly, well, all of those replays are now no longer functioning at all. Maybe they'll go ahead and fix it. They are aware of the problem, but yeah, it's probably gonna be a little bit late. Oh my god, no way. What? Alrighty, Neeb, sleeping on the job, gets for some reason, I don't even know how that worked there. Anyways, he got his probe stuck between 2 of those SCVs, and I guess this little wall, and maybe the edge right there of the unbuildable plate? Little bit of a strange start. But anyways, a bunch of my tournament games that I was gonna go ahead and cast, sadly they all broke. I had a great lineup of games already selected from Cero, Rainer, a whole bunch of guys. And, well, like... I basically ran out of games to cast. I had nothing anymore to commentate, because obviously, you know, tournaments only happen every once in a while, and when I run out of games, and, you know, casting obviously from the previous multiplayer balance patch also feels a little bit odd at this point. It was a little bit frustrating, but turns out Wardy was my savior, so shout out to him. Thank you very much for sending these games to me. So these series, or this series rather, was played very, very recently. We do have a Stargate opener right here by Neeb, and then of course on the other side of the map, HeRoMaRinE just opening up a very, very standard as well. Using that very first Reaper to get a little bit of scouting information. He did see the Stargate there, so that's always a nice scout. That way at the very least you know what you need to prepare for. But generally speaking, Terran players are pretty good at warding away the early game aggression here in general. Now, there is one cheeky little SCV making its way right here to the top left. I don't know if this one is just scouting or if it's planting down. Okay, no, never mind. There's a starport inside of the main base. I was gonna say, maybe he's planning on proxying the starport or something along those lines. Not quite gonna be happening. Well, maybe he will, but I highly doubt that it's gonna be happening at this point. There is gonna be that Oracle Chrono Booster, of course. Adept moving across the map as well, and we're just gonna have our good old early game Terran versus Protoss skirmish. Now, actually, would you look at that? Okay, he is gonna... Okay, he's proxying the armory. There's a couple changes that they made to this matchup pretty recently with the new multiplayer balance patch. One of the big changes is the fact that Protoss players can now overcharge. You see that little icon right here in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Protoss players can now overcharge a shield battery, which is a pretty powerful move. Basically, what happens is that it's gonna be better at regenerating the shields. Very, very helpful, especially when it comes to the Terran versus Protoss and the Protoss versus Protoss matchups. Basically, you can stop a lot of early game aggression significantly more easily. Obviously, your opponent can still go ahead and just kill the shield battery, but oftentimes the shield battery is going to be right over here, and then the engagement will take place right over here, right? So it's difficult to get to, and it does allow Protoss to just be a little bit stronger when it comes to defending, especially in the early to mid-game. Now, another change that they made with the new multiplayer balance patch is that Drilling Claws, the Widowmine upgrade, it no longer grants the Widowmines invisibility. Instead, having an armory in general will grant the Widowmines invisibility. So this is not particularly useful for, like, for example, Terran versus Zerg or Terran versus Terran. Well, it might come into play every once in a while, but it's mostly for Terran versus Protoss. I'm quite interested, though, in the fact as to why he decided to proxy it. It doesn't really seem to make that much sense to put it all the way in the top left-hand corner. I guess it's also not really worth overthinking, right? Terran can just go ahead and plant it wherever. But I can almost feel that, like, you know, there's a chance later on into the game when the Terran player decides to start up 2-2 and 3-3 upgrades and the Protoss might accidentally stumble upon this structure over here. They may very well not be able to actually continue researching. It seems like the main base on Ice and Chrome is big enough to just go ahead and put it right over there if you absolutely want to. Regardless, though, it is going to be a third command center right now as a follow-up. Medivac hanging out over here, not even really attempting to get any damage done anymore. Making use of the little cloaking? All right. Now, he hasn't quite seen here inside of the main base exactly what it is that the Protoss player is going for. There is continued Phoenix production, so 4 of them are hanging out over here. Maybe what HeRoMaRinE is doing right now is setting up the biggest trap ever, where he knows that at some point the Phoenixes may very well chase down this Medivac. And obviously, if he can bait them into the line of fire here of the Widow Mines, that can deal an awful lot of damage, especially when the Phoenixes tend to clump up together when they are chasing down one of those flying units. We'll have to keep an eye out on that, but it's mostly just testing the waters, right? Anyways, Robo Bay coming up right now as well. Third base has been saturating for a little while. He's going to be able to start up the double upgrades here instead of the main base too. And honestly, this is a very nice little macro-focused early game so far, right? Really not a whole lot of damage here has been done by either of these two players. And I think that was kind of the goal with the new multiplayer balance patch. It seems like Terran players... I mean, I'm a little bit conflicted when it comes to that new Nexus overcharge, or what's it called, battery overcharge ability. In the sense that... This is actually going to be very annoying. Can't land there. I'm a little bit conflicted on it in the sense that it's going to reduce the amount of options that players have in the early game. Oh my god, look at this. Is it actually going to work? This was burrowed here ages ago. No way. That is so silly. He set up that trap like 2 minutes ago, and it actually worked. 2 minutes, obviously, being ages in StarCraft 2 terms. But anyways, there used to be a lot of timing attacks that both Zerg players could do, and then also Protoss, or Terran players could do against Protoss. The battery overcharge really shuts down a lot of the early game aggression. I am a fan of it, though, when it comes to the Protoss versus Protoss matchup. I've seen a couple of games, especially in PvP, obviously. The cheese meta is pretty prevalent. Anyways, we're not casting a PvP right now, but I'll see if maybe I can go ahead and, you know, cast one of those games as well going into the next couple of weeks with the new patch. Now here we do have a nice little drop inside of the main base. 2 medivacs filled with units. At the same time, it looks like there is an attempt over here, over at the third base of the Protoss player, but a Colossus will be able to shut that down. Obviously, the Phoenixes are still available as well, and with the boost on cooldown, I've got a feeling that these bio units are gonna, yeah, they're gonna have a hard time coming home. It's sad, man, but that was not a particularly successful drop. Still, though, I mean, a couple probes end up dying here. Obviously, though, when you have 4 base production, 8 workers, I mean, that's going to be 2 chrono boosts. You're going to be able to get those back up and running very, very quickly. And obviously, while that was all going on, Neeb managed to secure a 4th base. And having that 4th base when the Terran opponent right here is only on 3 is really not ideal. As this game progresses, I'm anticipating right now that Neeb will basically become bigger and bigger, right? He will become a much more powerful Protoss here. He's even now all the way going up to a 5th Nexus as well. His army, with this amount of economy, can continue growing very, very rapidly. Now notice, he's only running on 4 gases. So this is one of those builds where you basically are running full on minerals. He's going to be very, very zealot heavy. But obviously, if your Colossi can shoot from a distance, they can... yeah, they can kill especially a lot of Marines and whatnot very, very easily. So I wonder what HeRoMaRinE exactly is going to go for, because he's in a bit of an awkward position. Now, for now, his supply count is going to be fine, but very soon his main base is going to start running low on money, and obviously he can float that thing over if he wants to. But playing passively here is probably not the best choice. Now, of course, with the Colossus spotted, he does have to come up with an answer here. Just Marines and Marauders are not a great idea, especially not against a heavy amount of Zealots. There's already 4 Vikings out. He's producing, well, 3 right now at once, but he was producing 4 just now. So he's going to be able to get a pretty healthy number. Usually you're aiming for about like 8 to 10, maybe 12 or so. That way you can gun down the Colossi quite reliably. And with the amount of gas, obviously, here that the Protoss player is getting, right? Even a warping of Stalkers like that is rather expensive. He's not going to be able to really get a whole lot of anti-air. Obviously, there's no storm or anything available here either. This is going to be a, I think, just a full-on brute force approach. And actually, here we go. The boys have been pulled. Now, this does get spotted pretty quickly here by Neeb, who looked like he was actually ready to go for an aggressive push as well. One of the Colossus, okay, does get picked off before the fight really starts off. Zealots are charging forward. You can see, though, the Stalkers are trying their very best to get rid of, well, actually, they're not even target firing. They're trying to get rid, I guess, of the Vikings here. As long as the Vikings live, those Colossi are going to be in trouble. War Prism does get picked off as well. Now, obviously, the amount of economy here for the Protoss player is huge, but this looks like it's just simply way too much Terran. That being said, though, we do have that nice defensive capability that one Colossus still remains, already raking in 20 kills there before going down. And you know what? With additional warpins coming up, it looks like there might actually be enough right now for Neeb to hold on, although I say that, and immediately the fight turns back around once again. That one photon cannon desperately trying to shoot at whatever it can. It actually now has 3 confirmed kills before it does get depowered. Another Colossus will finish up here as well. Maybe Neeb needs to just give up this position. Yeah, this was obviously a huge all-in, right? I mean, just now, 25 workers ended up going down. The thing is, obviously, if you lose this base, you're likely to lose the base over here as well. But, well, apparently Neeb doesn't want to let it get that far. He charged forward already. Does he have enough to clean all of this up right now? There's only one Viking here in the air. Being target fired down right now by only, well, actually, wait, I only saw one. Were there multiples there all that time? Oh my god, I'm getting blind. Regardless, additional boys were apparently pulled away from the mineral line as well. This is now 100% all in, no backing down. HeRoMaRinE going for attack wave number, I guess, 2, where he pulled once again a whole lot of workers. They're supposed to be sacrificing themselves to those Zealots. Zealots, though, trying their very best to just simply kill whatever they can, and I think there might actually be enough. Insane game right here. Neeb, while it looked like he was dead in the water, is now on the counter-attack. That being said, though, oh my god, this is a crazy back and forth. More bio units do come steaming up. The thing is, I'm looking at that eco, I'm looking at where this fight is taking place. And indeed, despite me not noticing those additional Vikings, there was enough there for Neeb to continue warping in, and eventually his army was big enough to overwhelm the Terran. I had this discussion on the live stream a couple of days ago, actually. Sometimes whenever I cast a game, right, you guys might be aware, okay, let me restart that. You guys might be aware of the fact that oftentimes the games that I post on YouTube, they are not the first games that I'm casting for that day. Generally speaking, I try and cast multiple series and then only post the very best ones. And oftentimes it's not even necessarily the games, but it's the fact that I'm not particularly happy with my commentary of the games. And sometimes I just feel like I'm talking kind of sloppily, or I'm stumbling over my words. Or for example, I don't see the Vikings. Now, I kind of always think that that may not necessarily be something that people want to watch, but, well, according to at least people in Twitch chat, it makes me more human or something? Wait, what? I'm human? I make what? No. No, it can't be. Anyways, not the biggest of deals. Not the biggest of deals, but believe it or not, sometimes even casters and even pro gamers, they do make some mistakes. Okay, maybe not all pro gamers though. It's been a long time since we've seen Serral make a mistake, or since we've seen Maru miss micro, but other than that, you know. Anyways, it's gonna be a double gateway opener right here from Neeb. This is going to allow him to put on a little bit of pressure. I'm hoping right now for, okay, yeah, HeRoMaRinE, that he's going to be sending an SCV across. He needs to know. He does high five right there, that probe this time around. It's not going to go down. Ooh, that's actually going to be a Marine first. So, not a Reaper first. That does mean that the potential for, like, say, like a, maybe like a double Stalker opener here, it can deal a lot of damage. Obviously, HeRoMaRinE is not going to be able to find that proxy very easily. But he will see the timing of the Nexus going down on the other side of the map. So that should maybe make this a little bit more manageable for him. But yeah, just having that Marine over there, it's not going to allow you to put on any counter pressure or anything along those lines. That means that the Stalkers can just simply go straight across the map. Alright, so HeRoMaRinE sees the lack of Nexus on the low ground. He sees the gateway, he sees the Cybercore, he knows exactly what it is he's going up against right now. At least he should. There we go. Decides to mess up the mining here for just a little bit. 2 Stalkers are coming up indeed. Chrono Boost, of course. It's going to allow those Stalkers to start putting down quite a bit of pressure. Bunker should finish up before the Stalkers arrive, but it's only it's only 1 Marine actually right now. That is not a whole lot here whatsoever. I mean, I'm hoping for the sake right now of HeRoMaRinE that bunker is going to finish. That's going to be very close. It should be done. There we go. Nice time there by him. HeRoMaRinE, by the way, has been doing an amazing job so far in 2020 when it comes to online tournaments. He seems to be participating in a lot of them, and even though I don't really cast as many of his games as I probably should, the guy is ridiculously good and slowly getting better and better and better. Alright, so the tech lab is done. The switcheroo has happened there. The factory is now producing a Cyclone. And Cyclone's obviously the best defensive tool, especially in the early game, for Terran players. Now, apparently these Stalkers decide to get a little bit aggressive. They wanted to probably run by. Nice little bit of micro so far as well. That bunker will be salvaged, so that was a 25 mineral investment. And while the Marine, oh my god, it actually also barely lives. This is not an ideal start for HeRoMaRinE, but it's definitely not bad for him either. Right, so reactor is gonna finish up here. It can't be repaired until it's done. Is he gonna keep that alive as well? Oh my god. That was beautiful defense right there by Gabe. Oof. You know how easy that is to mess up? So the weird thing is Terran structures, they can't be repaired while they're still building. I mean, if they could, proxies would just be the name of the game every single game. So, you know, it would be a little bit silly. But reactors, for example, right there, I mean, it wasn't repairable until it finished up. HeRoMaRinE keeping everything alive, and, well, I mean, he lost one SCV there, and obviously he also had to salvage the bunker. So that makes up for that 25 minerals lost here too, but this is an excellent start, especially considering that this expansion was a little bit late. Now, obviously, though, this is where that Chrono Boost is super helpful. Neeb is going to be able to prevent counterattack aggression quite a bit, and, well, Cyclone eventually does fall. But, I mean, one shield battery can prevent a lot of follow-up pushes. So this would be a scenario, for example, where in the previous balance patch, Terran might try to capitalize on it. In this particular instance, I don't really see it happening because the battery overcharge is very, very powerful. Now, would you look at that? Neeb is going for the Blink upgrade and then also the Dark Shrine. Not bad at all. He's going to be able to put on quite a bit of pressure. Shield battery going up at the front as well, as we discussed earlier. And there is already a robotics facility, so he's going to be able to get himself that Warp Prism going here in just a little bit. Now, the nice thing about having this gateway over here is that it's still a good location to warp in from, right? So he's going to be able to warp in very, very rapidly. He's only got 3 gateways at this point, which is not too crazy. He doesn't really need to put on too much pressure, to be honest. But the nice thing about Blink Stalker is that it's very non-committal, right? So as long as you micro well, you can technically always come out ahead, at least according to Parting. According to Parting, this is the way you should be opening up in Protoss versus Terran. Maybe not necessarily with a proxy pylon, but if you blink and you get a little bit of work done, you can just regenerate the shields and you can force a lot of actions just like this. Any worker kill right now is basically free, assuming you don't lose any of those stalkers. If you can force a stim, that's obviously awesome as well. And obviously, right, since you're in the middle of this of the map, you can expand quite easily as well, assuming you keep track of where your opponent's army is located. Now, one cheeky little medevac felt brave enough to move across. There is a big blink right now into the main base, although I don't really agree with this one. Oh my god. Ugh. Okay, well, apparently you can blink right from there towards the left-hand side, but that is still 2 stalkers going down there for basically free. That's what you don't want to have happen. There is a missile turret over here at the front. Widow mines are gonna be in the natural. I guess he can go ahead and just lift up the Dark Templar into the main base. See if he can potentially deal some damage there. Let's have a look at this Widow Mine drop. Finally coming in right now. That one took the longest route possible. And you know what? Since he is microing on the other side of the map, he doesn't notice it until right now. And that all of a sudden makes this a pretty tough scenario. In the meantime, though, Dark Templar inside of the main base. Where'd the other DT go? It's right over here inside of that mineral line. I thought maybe you'd wanted to target fire down the missile turret, but not quite gonna be the case. Not a whole lot of anti-air available, so an eye for an eye here at this point, right? Ooh, nice pickup there. Snatches that Dark Templar just a second before it would fall. And Jimmy over there, while valiantly stimming and trying to use his combat drugs to get rid of that prism, not quite gonna be the case. Alright. I was wondering where that medevac went. I wondered maybe if the Widow Mines get picked off, but nope, it's just gonna go back around once again as well. Once again, a Colossus transition here. Looks like the Dark Templar eventually did fall here, but a good amount of workers ended up dying here as well. HeRoMaRinE, though, continues macroing like a champ. 3rd Command Center is now done. Well, almost. There it is. It's even got a nice little blue paint job. Amazing, man. I feel like if you're in the middle of a battle, painting the colors of your buildings is the least of your worries, but apparently, yeah, no, the Terran Dominion takes a lot of pride in that, so he did finish up the paint job there as well. Probably could have finished the command center like, you know, 20 seconds earlier if he didn't need the paint job, but in the meantime, though, the Terran army also made its way right now into the main base, and this, yeah, now will force the recall. Where was the recall coming from? No, actually, it's the Colossus. I was gonna say, what is he recalling towards this location right now? 9 probes already end up going down. Is he gonna be able to blink once again? Nah, not quite. Blink still a little bit off cooldown, or on cooldown. At the same time, HeRoMaRinE drop over here too. Kills a couple of workers, and while HeRoMaRinE is trying his very best to put on a lot of pressure, it's dealing some damage here and there. It's not what I would call game ending, right? Protoss pretty much always ahead in this matchup when it comes to the eco, so they're always going to be able to expand just a little bit faster. Only just now is when we finally see that third command center flying on over there. One Dark Templar though, already ready. It's going to block that expansion from... Oh, no, never mind. I thought he was going to put it right there in the center. But it's definitely going to be able to get a couple of worker kills if it decides to go in when the Terran player isn't watching. It's such a volatile matchup though, right? Like, it's one mistake, it can cost you a lot. Does he see it? I mean, you can kind of see it if you're the Terran player, right? You see that? You can kind of see it, but it's a very, very small little shimmer. I guess once the missile turret, which is a detector, when that one finishes up, life is going to be a little bit easier, but... Well, you should find out right now. There it is. Hey. All of a sudden, it magically appeared. It's the guy in the missile turret, man. The dude in the missile turret getting us a little bit of intel. I mentioned that in a previous YouTube video, I think about a week or two ago, that there is a guy inside of the missile turret. And I asked the question why it doesn't cost supply. Apparently that freaked some people out. A lot of you have been playing StarCraft for many, many years. Or been watching StarCraft 2 for many, many years. And you didn't know about the missile turret guy. The missile turret guy, the most important character for the Terran Dominion, for sure. He's free in supply, man. Not even an SCV is free. Nothing's free. Not even observers. Protoss have to use supply to scout, but Terran apparently get a free freaking guy in the missile turret? How does that work? It's kind of like Overlords. Overlords are 100% free. They cost no resources at all. Anyways, a big attack coming up right now for Neeb. Let's see how this is going to go. This does look like a lot of Protoss, but I've seen these kind of battles before. There are a couple of Vikings available as well. They need to get as many shots off as they possibly can. Oh my god, the Arc one actually underneath, dealing a lot of damage right here. But that is still a lot of Terran available as well. I like the fact that HeRoMaRinE decided to pull because he wasn't entirely sure. Just pull the command center into the main base. Big Stalker warp in here as well. Additional Vikings, though, are finishing up, and here we go. Here's the battle. The SCVs coming in right now from this side as well. The Colossi immediately picked up. Marauders in the front, trying their very best to tank as many of these Zealots as they can, and I think there might just be a little bit too much. Really not that much staying power right here for that Protoss player. Stalkers, obviously, not that great in these kind of scenarios, and those battles, right? While they oftentimes look so close, that went heavily in favor right there of the German Terran player. I mean, the German Terran player. Okay, sorry. I'm in a weird mood today. I've been in a strange mood the whole day. Alright, here we go. Prism trying its best to get into the main. Not quite gonna happen. And I would say right now, this is indeed gonna be a game for Big Gabe to lose, right? He's in a really good position, but obviously he needs to start dealing a little bit of damage. Fourth base is coming up here for Neeblet. There's a Disruptor. Well, there it is. Already out. Disruptors can deal a lot of damage. Nice HeRoMaRinE detonation right there on a couple of those Zealots. I mean, one Disruptor and you can be, you know, you can be losing this game here as well, right? At the same time, we do have a Terran group right there coming up as well. Oh, Disruptor almost blowing up the own Zealots. Nice pullback right there by HeRoMaRinE. Vikings even land over here, and while you could see the battery overcharge there for a little while, this is the classic 1-2 punch. Neeb engaging in two different areas, and while, yeah, he's defending one side, HeRoMaRinE gets the kill on the other side. Alrighty, so, here we go. Oh my god, we have my favorite StarCraft 2 tune in the background. It's a good one. Why is it that both for StarCraft 1 and for StarCraft 2, Terran clearly have the best music? Maybe it's because, you know, we are kind of the Terran, right? We're kind of the humans, and maybe this is music that we are supposed to enjoy. I don't know, man. Maybe the Protoss think their music is the most beautiful, and the Zerg think their... Well, I don't know, man. I don't. There's a bunch of Zerg units that can think, but I don't see a Zergling, you know, headbanging to the Zerg music. That seems a little bit strange. Someone noticed as well, actually, or someone mentioned the other day that the more games I cast, especially when it's like the early game, the more that these kind of games and videos turn into the Loco podcast until the matches really get underway. Obviously, in the previous game, we had that proxy gateway, which definitely got things off to a bit more of a, you know, a flying start. But oftentimes, though, especially at this level of play, the early games, they're so well thought out. We've all seen it hundreds of times before, if not thousands of times, right? There's really not that much to talk. And then every once in a while, I see that guy in the comment section is like, why is Loco not talking about the first structures? All right, let's do it. Chrono Boost going down on the probes. Okay, never mind. No Chrono Boost going down on the probes inside of the main base. Will he queue it up? We do see that Nexus right now on the low ground. Cybernetics core at the same time, completing the wall right here on the right-hand side to prevent this Reaper from getting into the main base. There we do see an assimilator coming up as well. Protoss, what is he gonna go for? Will it be a Twilight? Will it be a Stargate? Is he gonna go for a robotics facility? Oh my god. Only time will tell. I'm expecting, though, that we're gonna be seeing a factory here very shortly for the Terran player and their second refinery taken in the main base. I think that's what that guy wants, you know? Like, every once in a while I see the comment section and someone's wondering why I'm not talking about the game in the first couple of minutes. Well, main reason is that it's pretty much always the same. I know we all get, you know, to the edge of our seats when we see a Nexus being chrono boosted, but then you also have that guy. I saw this guy recently on Reddit a whole bunch, and like, it's not one guy, by the way. It's like multiple people's. Also on like the StarCraft 2 forums. There's people asking to go back to the 6 workers. Remember in like Wings of Liberty and Heart of the Swarm? The games used to start with 6 workers, and then they upped it to 12 workers for every single race. Oh my god. Imagine if I was casting games and the first 5 minutes of the game was literally both players working themselves up to like 16 workers. It's kind of like StarCraft 1 games, although in StarCraft 1, one-base play is quite a bit more prevalent, I suppose. But in StarCraft 1, I mean, you obviously start with 4 workers. It's really not that exciting. No, I think it's one of the best changes they've actually made. Starting off with 12 workers, at the very least, shaves a couple of minutes off of the early game. And it really didn't limit any of the build order variety, right? Like, that's the argument that they made. It's like, okay, when players used to start with 6 workers, it created more build order variety. But honestly, yeah, no. There's plenty of proxy gateways, plenty of early pools, plenty of proxy barracks as well, right? Lots of options in the early game as well. I don't know if we necessarily need more cheese in StarCraft 2. I would wager, nah, I don't think we need more of it. Actually, I would even say we can start with 16 workers. I'd probably be okay with trying that out. But less workers? I'm not so sure. Anyways, it is going to be once again a Twilight Council opener. Now, would you look at that? It's actually a charge start. So charge was a very popular upgrade to get first back a couple of patches ago. Actually, this is back in November. It feels like it's been a long time, but in November was the big new balance patch. Back in the day, it feels like it's a long time ago, but it's really only been a couple of months. I guess this year is taking a long time. Or rather, like, yeah, there's been a lot of shit that happened this year so far, right? Anyways, the charge, it was great because basically the units used to deal damage on impact. So as soon as a Zealot charged forward, it would immediately deal damage on impact and then also attack twice. So there was a lot of damage that Protoss players could do just by going for a whole lot of Zealots. Now, what was very popular back then was going for what was considered to be like a pretty aggressive push where you go for a bunch of Archons and then you also go for Zealots, right? So I'm expecting a couple extra gateways here in a little bit as well from Neeb. Maybe he decides to go for... okay, well, we'll see here in just a little bit. Anyways, he's selling this like it is your standard Blink Stalker opener. I mean, I guess technically speaking, the Prism gives every unit Blink. But obviously, this is quite a bit different. Okay, I was going to say, where's he adding on the extra gates? It's going to be in the back of the natural. So rather than spending the money right now on a third base, normally this is when the third base would come up. I mean, he's probably still going to try and take it. He's definitely planning on dealing a bunch of damage before that. Right? So HeRoMaRinE probably expecting the blink upgrade to finish up. I wonder if he's starting to put one on one together right now. Oh, that one will not live to tell the tale. Third Nexus is done. I wonder if he actually decides to get real aggressive. I mean, that's a lot of gateways. But then again, he's also expanding behind it, right? So that's going to be 5, 6, 7 gateways here in total, which is a very nice amount to deal some damage with. Double bunker even right now at the front, so HeRoMaRinE is really respecting this. He doesn't really know exactly what is happening right now. Oh my god, some beautiful micro here as well. Keeps all of those stalkers alive. You can see here the cost efficiency. Oof. That is something that Protoss players love. And only just now is when that third command center starts up. Alright. So, I thought he was planning on getting a bit more aggressive with this, but it looks like it's just going to be a defensive approach right now instead. Raven going across the map now. Feedback range is another small change that they've made. These High Templar right now have one additional feedback range. Could definitely send one of them into the main base. Boop, there we go. Beautiful. Beautiful defense. Liberator over here. Trying to get a little bit of damage done. One Zealot valiantly sacrificing itself. Blink obviously not done yet. And apparently HeRoMaRinE wants to go for a push. I don't know if I agree with this. If you look at the army value right now, you can see that there's 11 more supply there for the Terran player. Did I just do math in a YouTube video? Anyways, it was 11. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there's definitely a small little advantage there. It's just that this Protoss army is way higher tech. And, I mean, I've seen many, many rabbits pulled out of hats. Oh my god, this is the value liberator right over here. Is he gonna get another one? Oh my god. Oh my god, that hurts. That was like, what, 3 stalkers? 4 stalkers even. Wow, okay. 4 stalkers killed by this one liberator. This is the hero liberator over here. If HeRoMaRinE manages to crawl himself back into this game right now, eco-wise, I think it's primarily because of that one liberator. Third command center finished up. I thought actually initially that Neeblet wanted to go for a big aggressive push based with Archons and then Zealots, but he's just using this as like a defensive measure here instead. Prism on the right-hand side, always ready to go for some aggression. Liberator once again goes back. This may be a little bit ballsy though, buddy. I don't see this one happening. And actually, you know what? Protoss is moving here on the right-hand side. Terran is moving here on the left-hand side. Both units are... Oh my god, both players want to go for an aggression right now. I guess the Liberator was picked off here eventually. Drop into the main base, and at the same time, Protoss is all the way on this side of the map. Zealots right now will be picked off instead of the main, but this is a big warp in here, forced at home. There is a Storm available, so that's very helpful. Battery overcharge also being utilized there. At the same time, though, the liftoff here on the other side of the map, the Storms. I feel like the Storms are going to be living, or they're going to have to tell the tale here. Oh my god. Ooh, good EMP there. Not getting a whole lot of damage done yet, though. Not really reducing the energy over there. Looks like the drop from the Terran player eventually gets cleaned up. A couple of the boys pulled away. Ooh, and there we go. Big amounts of damage here being done by the Protoss player. Big warp in right now as well. Lots of Zealots being added into the mix. One Archon eventually does come up. That's 24 SCVs here picked off, but it mostly just evens up the work account. HeRoMaRinE, though, doing an amazing job macroing so far. He does have tons of additional Marines here added into the mix. And while the work accounts are pretty even right now, I feel like it's going to come down primarily to disengagement. Those medevacs are super helpful, obviously, just simply healing up so many of these units as well. More reinforcing units do come walking down that ramp. And having that high ground advantage, absolutely massive. Neeb is starting to bleed out quite a bit of army. And yeah, there it is. GG is called. HeRoMaRinE obtains the victory in this series in a 2-1 fashion. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button down below. If you want to see more, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button so you get notified as soon as future videos go live. A special shout out to the Patreon supporters. Thank you very much for your generosity. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Don't forget to smile. And I'll see you once again in the next one.